Hello.
It's been a while, but we are back.
We're back with a tan, thank God.
Oh my God, we were so pale before we left. We've just been on a little Euro trip.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't meant to go, but Raquel convinced me to
Hey,
come
like,
last
how
minute.
can you do a whole Melbourne winter?
Yeah, no,
It should be illegal.
it should be illegal.
But we're back. I was away for a while,
I reckon you were for like 3 months, no?
2 and a bit, and it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, whereas I only went for 3 weeks. I met Raquel in Athens. We had a cheeky Mykonos trip. It was so much fun.
So much fun.
And then I went and met my best friends in London that I hadn't seen in 4 years. And then I went to go spend time with my family, and then I came back. So I was 3 weeks in and out, but it was like so needed.
I love it. And I had like a full. If you are from immigrant parents, you need to go back to where you're from and like have a whole moment. It's so nice, like being the norm. Like everyone looks like you, everyone speaks like you, everyone eats like you. You're not like the other. I can't describe the experience, but it's so nice. Like connecting to your ancestry, connecting to like, yeah, I don't know. It was just the most holistic thing that I could have experienced going to the Middle East. And then, of course, Europe was so fun. Ibiza, Mykonos, la 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 la.
I feel like that when I go to Greece too. And I've been seeing recently, I don't know if it's a TikTok trend, but a lot of people talking about like the concept of if your family had never left where they were from, like how different your life would be. And I know a lot of people, like Greeks, really feel that because Greek migrants are meant to come to Australia, make money, and go back, which I'm pretty sure is like all migrants.
Yeah.
And then obviously, life happens. They got stuck here, but I feel like God, life would have been so different. Life would have been better.
But there's a massive hiatus out of Australia at the moment.
Yeah,
Like
not surprised.
so many young people are moving to Bali, Thailand, interstate, especially from like places like Melbourne. And you really get it because it's so expensive to live here. And for what?
Yeah, for
Literally for what? Like you're spending millions of dollars to own a house, which is like so out of reach for all the young people. And then it's like, what are you actually paying for to live this lifestyle?
To
Like
live in the privilege of Melbourne, which is like arguably one of the most boring cities on this planet.
so yeah, we went out on the weekend and wow, it was almost like a culture shock.
Don't.
To go out and be like, wow, it's really dead. Like it's really, really dead out here.
So depressing. I don't know what it is. Like, have people in Melbourne lost the ability to go out? They just don't have fun anymore. I don't understand.
It was a ghost town. We called my parents to pick us up at 8 p.m.
8 o'clock.
And I was speaking to my friend from overseas and he was like, it's 8 o'clock. Why are you coming home on a Saturday night? And I was like, it was literally dead.
It was so dead.
And he's like, don't people go out for dinner at 8 o'clock? I'm like, I don't, yeah.
And then you were speaking to a friend that's like, what did he say?
Which one?
Where he was like, well, we just don't go out in Melbourne. Like, that's like
Oh,
the
yeah. Then I
norm.
was speaking to my friend and I was like, I literally just got off a flight and I was like, I'm going to go have drinks with the girls. And he was like, in Melbourne, like you do that overseas. Like you don't really do that. Like it's, you don't really have fun in Melbourne. I'm like, we've just accepted that there's no vibe in our country, that we're spending so much money to live in, but there's just no vibe. Like everyone's doing the same things every weekend.
Yep.
And
not to be like, like maybe it's just we've just come back from overseas. I don't want to be like, oh, like overseas is the best thing ever. But I just feel like Melbourne is become the most boring place on the planet.
it's just, there's just not a vibe. Someone tell me where the vibe is and send me location of the vibe because I would love to join the vibe because I don't see it. And I know it's like, okay, well, it's colder weather right now. And
Yeah, but babe, look at London.
Yeah.
They own winter, right? They go.
It's hard to compare London to Melbourne though. But like, come on.
But can't we adopt? Like, why does the cold make us not want to go out? It's so weird.
Yeah, when it's 90% cold in
Exactly.
this city.
That we're
Surely
gonna
we've
stay home the
adjusted.
whole time. No,
I know.
not the vibe.
So it's a massive in that sense. I'm like, I miss the community vibes. I miss like feeling like I was a part of something bigger. Here it's very lonely in Australia. I always think about this. So I live with my parents. I'm like a big family girl. And so when I come home, it's like a big family, hectic vibes. And like, I'm around, I have like quite a social life, but it's very easy to feel lonely here. Even I sometimes feel lonely here. It's very isolating. Everybody lives for themselves.
Yeah.
Rather, when I was in Lebanon, I never felt lonely.
Yeah.
Everyone speaks to each other. Okay, if you're an antisocial person, it's the worst place to be because you have to speak to people all the time and everyone wants to talk to you. But like, it's just like, I don't know, there's such a big
That's a
sense of
vibe.
community. And like everyone's like, just, yeah, it's such a different thing. And don't get me started on the dating stuff.
Well, that leads us to the topic for today, which is also not a vibe, which is dating in Australia
Dating in Australia.
versus dating anywhere else.
Guys, I just came back from overseas and like God, like it's such a different vibe.
It's actually scary
It's
here.
yeah, it's scary. Yeah, it's really scary. I just know, and I know so many people that are moving overseas to find the love of their life because they're just not meeting people here that put their emotions on the line and actually like put themselves out there. I was speaking to my girlfriend, and she was saying she went out on the weekend. She saw this guy that we both knew. Didn't give her anything. Didn't say one word. And then when she got home, he was messaging her how beautiful she looked, all this stuff, and she was like, "Where was that energy when I saw you?"
It's so unattractive.
And it's just so like the Australian man, so scared to put himself out there, so scared to get rejected, so scared to do anything. Like, what would go wrong with you going up to a woman and telling her she's beautiful? Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? She's going to be like, go away. Like, everybody likes to hear that they're beautiful. Rather than in Lebanon or even Europe, like, men do the most
Totally.
to get your attention and to
Totally.
keep your attention and to like, I
wow
don't
you, to
know.
impress you. It's like here there's like no desire to impress a woman. It's like take her out, kind of not make a plan, kind of not make effort, kind of put the ball in her court,
Yeah.
or too afraid to go up to her, and then it's kind of all on her to steer it, and then you end up fucking her over anyway because you're either, I don't know, stingy, lack of effort. It's just like very low maintenance, very low
It's
effort,
low
very
risk,
everything.
low reward. Like, what men are you winning here?
Yeah.
You know, like, how is this man going to protect you? How is this
Yeah.
man going to be the person that raises your children, raises your boys, raises your girls? How is he going to be the king of in a daughter's eyes? I really wonder that. Like, for example, I went to the gym in Lebanon. I was working out and then I was waiting for my Uber at the front. This guy was trying to get my attention, was like, "You catch an Uber? No way, I'm going to get my driver to drive you there." And like, he was just so gentleman the way he went about it. I was like, no, because I didn't know him. And then I was like, okay, like whatever. And then like,
It's so
and then when
you.
I got there, he got the driver to message him and he messaged the driver saying, "Ask her for a number so I can make sure that she gets to her friend's place." Okay. Like, he did it in a very smooth way. It was very thought out. And that's like every second person. They're doing the most to impress you because they know that like men are hunting. It's a very classical, let's say, biological, gendered, back in the old days, where men try to impress you. And yeah, I don't know what it is here. Like, it's really just not.
Well, we were talking about the other day about how it ties into like modern masculinity in Australia and how
Yeah.
the lack thereof for
Yeah.
majority of men, obviously not all men.
So while I was away, I was happily on Arab Talk, Euro Talk, other side of the world Talk. And then Lexi sent me this Yochi date thing. And I think we need to discuss that. So essentially, the clip is a guy who took a woman out on a Yochi date and was hoping that she didn't choose the bigger cup. And then
I actually can't, even when you talk about it, I'm like, I feel unwell.
And then he was kind of judging her on the amount that she did and because it was going to be expensive and how many toppings she added to her frozen yogurt.
Like mentally calculating the bill and being like, oh, this is a bit expensive. Like, oh my God.
Like, how do I say this? Okay, this guy was quite young and everyone's obviously in a different financial position. But if you don't have the finances just to take someone on a particular date, do something else. Do it, make a picnic, do something thoughtful that doesn't involve money. But to be so cheap and to be like, where is the human dignity? Where is the like self-respect that you could post something like that and not think like, wow, I'm really coming across to the world as someone who's so broke and cheap and, you know, judgmental and like,
I think
these men used to be
honestly,
sent to war,
I
and now they're
know.
complaining about how much frozen yogurt
Don't,
a woman
babe,
is
I
eating
can't,
or ordering.
I can't. I don't know how you expect to continue dating in Australia after you post something like that.
Like, what is going on? Women are expensive. Dating a woman is expensive. It is. Like, yeah, I'm not going to say, but wow, if that was my son, I would send him to, I don't know, North Korea.
What do you think it is about Australian men that makes the dollar figure of the date or the effort of the date such a thing? Because I don't think it's spoken about in like any other culture like it's spoken about here.
No, it's definitely not. This is the thing, like, I really wonder. Like, I guess it comes with a more egalitarian society, and I understand that. But what I find really humorous is how many guys like are so scared of a woman being a gold digger when they have nothing to their name. Like, babe, if a woman's gonna be a gold digger, it's not gonna be like to a guy who doesn't really have gold. Like, get the gold and then be scared of the
Like-
digging. And men who actually have the money don't care.
Yeah.
They know that like, you know, women are expensive and it's nice to be treated well and they find enjoyment in that. But it's always the brokies.
Babe, like my ex.
It's always the brokies that are like, she's using me for money, babe. What?
Literally.
Lexi's ex? Speak on it, girl.
So my ex, in his 30s, owned a place in a nice suburb in Melbourne, didn't even own a car.
I don't want to be that girl, and I'm only going to say this in context because it's funny that he's thinking that my girl's a gold digger. His apartment was probably the size of, I don't know. It was small. Like, it wasn't, don't think like...
And thought I was using him in some capacity, which is
for his money.
crazy. For
using
his
him
money.
for his money. Babe, get some more money and then start accusing people of using you.
The one that was like, we were driving to a party. I don't know if I've told this story. We were driving to a party and he said, your car is awful unless you buy a new car, or like agree right now to buy a new car. I'm turning this car around and we're not going to this party.
And he didn't own a car.
And he didn't own a car. And for some reason the perception was that I was using him for his fucking place. Like, bro.
Sorry, and also it's such an ick. Like,
such an
coming
ick.
from like a Middle Eastern girly, like I don't really know Middle Eastern guys that let girls drive or like to be the passenger in the car.
I wasn't driving.
Yeah,
But
but
the
it's
concept of
embarrassing
being
that he's
like-
driving your car and
Oh, yeah,
complaining
true, because we
about
were.
it.
Sorry, we were driving my car. And he's like, this car's shit, like you need to... And,
Like,
and
you're
the narcissism
driving-
of it to
yeah.
be like, unless you agree, I'm not taking you to this party. Like, are you okay, babe?
Yeah.
Like the fucking... sense
Number
of
one, what
control
man cares what car a woman drives? That's giving broke. Men who care about how much money a woman has are broke. I
a
don't care,
narcissist,
quote me on
babe.
that. But men don't care how much money a woman makes. That's not of value to them because they make the money.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. Like, do you want me to support the family? Do you also want me to with a strap on? Like, what do you want? Am I the man or you the man? Like, there's things, there's girl things, and then there's guy things.
I think he was confused though, babe.
Yeah, he was just, yeah,
Lost and confused.
lost and confused. But yeah,
Lost and confused.
this whole idea about the fear of the woman gold digger, babes, like, you have, you know, really not that much gold to dig. Like, it's just, it's
Why is
embarrassing.
there any emphasis on money to begin with? It's so disgusting that like men in Australia are like, oh, 50-50, or like, you know, it's going to cost me this much, or like, I don't know. I just feel
Or
like it's too
scared
much
to
talking
be
about money.
used
It's
for a
bizarre.
meal?
Yeah, oh my God, don't.
Would any woman actually use a man to get a meal? Are we like starving in a developing country that we need to like see some way that we can manipulate to eat something? Cannot everyone at least afford the basic of feeding themselves? Not, maybe not in this country. I'm not sure. There's a bit of a, you know.
Yeah, but the fact that it's even a conversation, like, I can't.
But it's like this idea that like, oh, you know, I don't want to be used to go to this restaurant, babe. Like, no one is going to use you to eat at a restaurant. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. Maybe I'm in my own bubble, but I don't know any woman that would be like, wow, I really want to go to this restaurant. I'm going to get a guy to take me. Like,
I would be like, I feel like most women would prefer to go alone or with friends, like, than some guy that's going to make an emphatic point on like 50-50 or like, you know.
and that's the other thing. Like, either do it with pleasure or don't do it.
Exactly.
Take me out with the absolute pleasure because you want to spend this night with me. You want to enjoy it. Or if you're counting things and like, don't do it, babe. It's fine.
don't.
I'll pay the fucking bill.
Yeah. Has
Like,
that ever happened to you?
Once in high school, only once in high school, this guy took me out. It was a very like cutesy whatever place, like near the train station, full 15 years old, and he forgot his wallet. And he invited me, and he was like in the year above me, and I paid for it. And then he was like, I'll pay you back. I was like, ew, like, no, babes. But it's fine. These things happen. Maybe he did actually forget his wallet. But no, I've never been on a date with a guy who...
No, neither.
And there's the whole thing. Like, it goes back to whoever invited the person pays it. Like, can we just all agree on that and move on?
Yeah.
And, like...
So I wonder, like, with I need the context of the Yoshi date. He definitely invited her.
Well, that's what he was. He made a follow-up video being like, you know, oh, I don't know, it's so cringe. Let's move on from it because it's actually making me quiver at like the difference in like, okay, so I just came back from overseas, went on dates, and like just how gentlemanlike it is, how sweet, like it's just such a different vibe. It's such a different vibe. It's like actually being so appreciated and valued and desired and open emotions and like very clear and intentional and like, you know, I was on a date with this guy and then we went on a couple more dates and he was like, even in front of his friends, he's like, look how beautiful she is. I'm the luckiest man in the world. Speaking in such affirming ways. Like as soon as I saw him, he's like, wow, you're gorgeous. Like just Like,
Men in Australia don't do that. Men in
no.
Australia, like,
They're stingy with
either
money, stingy with compliments, stingy with love, stingy with everything. And that's why mum says, like, be scared of stingy people because they're not just stingy with money. They're stingy with everything else. Like,
there's two sides to this, right, though. There's, like, not being affirming in the way that they date, but then also being so, like you said, so unclear with emotions, so, like, you know,
scared about the boys, we're losing a soldier.
like,
Even one of my friends, he's just kind of getting into a relationship. And of course, his other friends are like, oh, we're losing a brother. We lost one of the good ones. It's like, don't you want your friend to be happy?
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
you want your friend? Aren't you celebrating that? Or is it like, are all men in love with each other? And then, you know, when they get married, they're just crying on the side that they lost the love of their life, being their friend, the guy. Like,
Don't.
I don't understand
It's
it.
that Boise culture.
Oh, babe.
I
That's what it is. It's Boise. It's
it
not
is.
manly. Like, bring back masculinity. Bring it back. Where is she? I miss her. Bring back chivalry. Bring back gentleman-like. And I know people are going to be like, well, that was feminism. Okay, women wanted the right to work. Women wanted the right to vote. Women wanted the right of being viewed as a whole human. But at the same time, we're not biologically equal in a sense that our bodies are completely ruined by childbirth. This little snatched waist, no longer. Stretch marks. I don't even talk about the coochie because, like, I'm going to miss that girl. Like, I've heard it's different. Stretch marks.
So scared.
Little, you know, like, everything changes. And then, you know, not just talking about the physical toll of all of that, but the mental toll, the life dedication. Like, it is a lot more, you know, to be a mother, for a woman to become a mother than a man to just and become a father.
Yeah.
So in saying that, because of the biological inequality, it doesn't make sense that now men have somehow moved away from the one responsibility that they've always had, which is to provide and protect. You want to get away from that? No. Get back in that seat, or else what's your purpose? Just to
Yeah.
is that it?
Yeah.
Is that your only purpose
Well,
in
it
the
comes
picture?
back to that meme that we saw that it was like men, you know, used to do this for women, and then, you know, this was the reward for women. Over time, men are just relinquishing more and more responsibilities to the point where it's going to be flipped, and the woman does literally everything, including provide.
Literally.
Like, what was that? Do you remember when we saw that? That is just
It's gonna be
crazy.
like no. So that's the thing. That's a big element. Also, like, going on a date, right? It's so expensive for a woman to get ready.
Yeah.
Chances are you've asked her to go on that date because of the way that she looks. Like, do you think we wake up with this hair? Do you think this eye makeup just, you know, is there, or this tan, or this smooth ass skin? Like, all the things that you physically liked about her cost money, babes.
Yeah.
It cost a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
all of these things. So I don't know. We've
in
spoken
Australia
about
have
this
loved it.
so much, but, like, I don't know how it doesn't make you feel so good as a man to be like, I want to take you to Yochi, order whatever you want. If, you know, like, if you don't have the money, don't go to Yochi.
That's lack of masculinity, because it would make a masculine man feel amazing knowing he was nourishing you, knowing he was taking you out, knowing he was caring for you in some capacity, making you feel happy. Like, get as much as you want because it makes you feel good, therefore it makes me feel good. Not I'm worried about how much it's going to fucking
And
cost.
judging you on how much you're
Oh,
eating,
don't,
that is
babe.
horrendous. Like, nothing makes me happier than seeing, maybe it's the ethnic in me, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I love watching the man I'm with eat. Like,
And that's
nothing
scarring
makes
for women.
Yeah,
I remember when
totally.
I was 13, this girl at my school said to me, never eat a lot in front of a man because he won't think that you're like, can't remember what the exact wording was, but
It's
it was
not like
not ladylike, but he won't like you. If you eat a lot in front of a guy, it's going to automatically mean he won't like you. And then I actually took that up until I was probably like 18 or 19, where I actually hit maturity, and I was like, fuck, like, that really fucked with me. I think
Which
it
is so
ruins your
not
perception
true.
of- so not
Well,
true.
I don't know. I don't date Aussies, but
It's
it's
such an Aussie thing.
someone who dates, like, I don't
Skinny.
know this whole. Sorry, let me just adjust.
Like box gap fucking vibes.
Like, this whole box gap obsession, whatever type of woman. It's very Australiana.
Yeah.
And I will say, as someone who eats a lot, Lexi vouch for me. The girl can eat,
She eats my plate. Like,
I'm
I
like-
don't finish.
and guys love it.
Yeah.
Guys love it. I've never heard a
Yeah.
guy be like I feel like every day I've been on, the guy looks at me, he's like, can you eat? I'm like, baby, order the whole menu. And they love that.
Yeah.
It's like a hot
But
thing.
that's masculine to love that. Again, we're circling back to this
Exactly.
concept of like how Australian men are just have like lost masculinity. Maybe more so Melbourne. I don't know about Like, if we say Sydney's a bit more masculine.
It's still got that underlying like Boise,
Yeah.
like I don't know. There's a lack of romance. There's such a strong numbness.
Sorry.
There's a lack of romance, and there's just there's a numbness to life here, a lack of love.
Well, that's
like,
what I wanna circle back to that, because I feel like you're a really good person to talk to on navigating like lack of clarity with Australian men, because I feel like they love to play the mystery. They love to leave you hanging on by a thread, mixed messages, in and out. Like,
It's
very
because they
confusing.
fear rejection. So if they're clear and honest, they're scared to put themselves out too much, because then that puts them in a vulnerable situation. So they'll always kind of play it cool. And for me, the cooler you play it, the more I'm not into you. The harder you go is the more that I want you. And that's really been affirmed since being overseas, because they go the full mile, because they know other men are trying to impress you. They know they're not silly. They know that, women are going to have multiple guys trying to get their attention. So what do? They try to stand out by being the one who's doing the most. Now, it might work on some insecure girls that you give them less, and then they're like, oh, but why is he not giving me more? Yeah, that was me at 15. But once you grow older, you don't play games anymore because you're not a child. But, the more that someone gives you, and the more that they put in effort, or the more that they like check up on you and like whatever.
It doesn't happen
it's
here,
so
babe.
no, it doesn't happen here.
It is the most obscure way to date. You're like constantly in the dark. Like, what does this mean? Like, analyzing all the text messages, like the lack of effort. But I think something you and I talk about like very, very often is men might be pretend to be mysterious, but it's so easy to figure out if a guy is serious about you or into you.
100%.
Because even if he's, playing a cool Aussie, lack of effort, lack of whatever, if he really wants you, I feel like he would not be like that. Like, he would change all of that behavior.
100%.
There's no confusion.
If a guy wants you, babe, you're going to know he wants you.
There's no confusion. There shouldn't be any confusion.
No. I'm too busy that's not an excuse.
I'm not ready.
Even
if you're the not CEO, an excuse.
If you're the CEO of Apple and you want a woman, you're going to make time to see her. You're going to make time to speak to her. I'm too busy. If anyone ever says that, they're just not that into you. Like, take it and, oh, I've been busy, or it's not a good time, or whatever it is. Like
that, babe. I'm not ready. Right person, wrong time. We've spoken about this. I came across this poem the other day on TikTok, and it was essentially saying there is no such thing as right person, wrong time, because the right person will never be the wrong time. The right person will make the wrong time the right time, which is so fucking true. I understand grief and going through things that are really traumatic, but I feel like you will make the space.
Yeah.
You're not going to risk losing that person.
No. I agree. Or if it isn't the right time for that person, then they're not your person.
Yeah, totally.
Your person is going to be there at the right time.
Yeah.
Your person is going to be there at the right moment. It's going to happen. It's not like he didn't get away. Once again, we're going back to this. It's not your ex who you're romanticizing right now and you're crying about and like, oh, I'm never going to find that again. No. That person is not your person. Let them go. That ship has sailed. They can't be your person by the fact that they're not your person. You're going to be with your person. Your person's going to be with you. Your person's not going to break up with you. Your person's not going to leave you. Your person's not going to be with someone else.
Your person's not going to leave you confused. No. You're not going to have one iota of confusion about if this person wants you. And the minute you start questioning like someone's behavior or someone's motives, or like, is he really... I was thinking about this the other day, that fucking movie. He's just not that into you. I'm like, it's so clear.
It's so clear.
It's so clear.
Even I'd speak to my brother about this. He would be like, I don't understand why girls are confused. Like, when we want someone, we want someone. Like, it's just not...
It's turbo.
It's not like... It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
Because they're not that deep. Like, not that they're not that deep, but it is very simple for them.
So I can, like, right now, we're at a time where there's so many people that aren't having kids. Everyone's single. It's like the most unmarried fucking generation.
Yeah, wow.
And I really see why. Like, I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than to be in one of those kind of dynamics.
100%.
And I understand why divorce rates are so high. Like, it's just not...
A divorce rate's high, like, globally, or just in Australia?
Globally, but okay. Mainly, like, Australia is really rising.
Yeah, wow.
And I can understand, like, people that get married young, or people, now social media has opened a whole new world of, like, comparison and whatever it is. There's obviously so many variables, but at the same time, I would happily never get married if it means marrying the majority of people that I'm seeing, or how they are, or how they react, or how they treat. Like, there's such a lack of love, like even between sons and their mothers. Like if he's not worshipping his mum, what is that saying about you, my friend? What is the future of you? If he can't, if he's not like, my mum used to say this to me, look at how he treats his mum. If he treats his mum like a queen, he'll treat you like a princess. If there's a lack of capacity to love in so many elements, what does it say about the capacity to love you?
Yeah,
Where's
I
the
know.
love? Where's
But
the
when it
guy?
comes to non-ethnic households, like I feel like that's the mother's doing.
I think it's a generational
Yeah. But as in like
constant
it's
thing.
like a
It's
cultural
because their
thing.
mother, their parents,
Yeah,
their
which is
it's like
crazy.
whenever I explain to someone I live with my parents and they're like, "What? You're in your like later 20s and you're living with your parents?" I'm like, "Babe, why
Totally.
is that a shock? Do you hate your
Totally.
family?" It is the biggest pleasure on earth to come
Mm-hmm.
downstairs and see my mom and dad. I'm always traveling, I'm
Totally.
always moving around. I'm only going to live out of home when I'm married or I'm living overseas or whatever it is. I'm not going to live in the same city and rent a place to be away
No
from my parents.
way.
Life is
No way.
short. Life is
Yeah.
so short.
Yeah.
I don't know how long my family will be on this earth. If I can savor every second, I
Mm.
will.
Mm.
And so, because I come from such a loving, I'm very lucky, very fortunate, such a loving family, I know what it means to be loved. I know what it
Mm.
means to be cared for. I know what that looks like. I know what it means to love, to care for. I know what it means to have this capacity to really love someone wholly. And I don't
Mm.
think, no fault of their own, but there isn't that family unity here.
Yeah.
So, how do I
Yeah.
expect someone to be like that? Like, I don't know. I literally,
Yeah. The family unit as a concept in Australia is definitely like non-existent.
no, and that's what happens. It's all like
Mm.
there's so many elements as to why we've gotten to where we have, but
Mm.
the lack of love is a real big issue. And I can
Mm.
understand why unaliving rates are so high
Mm.
because it's such a lonely,
Yeah.
lonely, lonely place.
Yeah.
Like,
Really sad.
yeah. So,
Circling back to confusion and modern dating, tips. Let's talk about like tips, things to do, like how to navigate men who are giving you no effort, which is probably a very quick answer.
like,
Ciao.
I understand that being in such a lonely place like Australia, that if some people are really craving love, affection, human connection, they're going to go for less than what they deserve sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
Because you're going to take anything that you can get. And so a
Mm.
lot of people find themselves in these relationships. And I know so many amazing women in Melbourne that are single. And I'm like, how is this girl
Yeah.
single?
Wow. That's
You
so
have
true.
lines of men eating her up. Like if she
Yeah.
just left this country.
I know.
Like successful men. Like
Yeah.
successful
Yeah.
men that
Yeah.
are doing
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most. I'm not
Yeah.
just talking about like cat callers on the street. I'm talking about men who are doing stuff.
And don't you
Like,
find it's like every like amazing woman you speak to who's single is having the same experience with dating in Australia?
babe, all I see like people, and even people that come from overseas, and they're like,
Yeah.
"What is this dating
Yeah.
thing here?" Like,
Yeah.
you'll be walking down the street, even in London, and a guy would be like, "You're." Once I was going home in Germany, and I was on a tram, and this guy was like, "You're so beautiful. I would love to take you out."
Mm.
Just like the way that they approach you, the way that is, it's so natural. Even some of them will do the most to try to get your attention, which we love, and other ones would just do it so casually. But it's like that doesn't happen here very
No.
often.
When's the last time someone approached you on the street here? Actually, that guy came up to us on the weekend.
That guy did. That was really surprising.
Yeah, that
This guy that was
was.
into Lexi came up and tried to pick her up, and he was very like conversational and whatever.
Mm.
It does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it's not.
Yeah, but it's rare.
It's
Like,
rare.
I definitely had that way more.
But then they'll go home and message you and tell you how hot you are. Okay,
Yeah, hot tip for guys, don't do that.
don't do that. It's creepy. Do it. And if you get comfortable with rejection, what is the big deal? What is the big deal? Oh, she wasn't into it. And practice rejection with your friends. Practice like your friend putting you down or something. Like really get comfortable with it because I don't know why people care so much.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like you better have had like better to walk away having tried than to walk away and then like secretly text you.
Oh my God, it's just giving
It's
pathetic. Like
gross.
how
It's really gross. And you're definitely not gonna get a girl that way.
it will probably attract some girl. Like, babe, these guys, this is what I don't understand.
Oh yeah, Lord.
I was at this work event with this person that I know, and I was asking him like where his girlfriend was. They live up in Queensland. And he was saying like, oh, she couldn't come to the work event because she couldn't afford the ticket. Mind you, this guy's like successful. And I was like, Babe, are you joking? Like, I would buy my
Aussie?
friend
Gotta be
Aussie.
Aussie. Yeah.
I would buy my friend a ticket
Yeah.
to Melbourne who couldn't
Yeah.
afford it.
Yeah.
Like,
if it meant they could be there with me. Yeah.
let alone my partner. And why are you even saying that? That's
I
so embarrassing.
know.
Some of the stuff that Australian people say, I have to say, I'm like cringe.com. How's that coming out of your mouth? Okay, there's been times where I've been broke. I'll tell my girlfriends I'm broke. It's not the starting conversation I'm having with people. People are like, oh, I'm so broke. Like, like, babe, like, why is that your introduction about your finances of you being destitute? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. We all go through it, and there's a financial crisis at the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone is going through it. But, like, why is that your conversation starter? Why is that the first thing you're talking about? Like, complaining about a yochi being a certain price.
With such a little dignity.
Like, a little bit of self-esteem, a little bit of dignity, a little bit of... It's weird. I don't know.
It's got to be sarcasm or just doing it to go viral. Like, you can't... Do you reckon it's real?
Well, yeah, it's considering the girl...
Oh my God, stop. It is real. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I reckon he does it to go viral. There's no way you would put yourself on the line like that. Like, he knows he's going to go viral, which is such another fucking emasculine.
Have you ever been on a date with a guy who's, like, looking at the prices at the menu? Have you ever paid 50-50 on a date?
No. No way, babe.
In London?
No, babe.
True.
Maybe, like, into dating a relationship, like, into a relationship dating, take my boyfriend out.
Yeah.
To, like, treat him. But no. No. And even if so, like, I wouldn't go 50-50. Like you said, I would just pay for the whole thing. Like, I can't do this weird, like, what, you're going to get your card out and I'm going to get my card out. We're on a date. Like, and then the fucking waiter's going to be like, wow. Like, no way. Embarrassing.
I'm trying to think about if you did that in Lebanon, like, if a girl paid, like, the waiter would be so judgmental. Like, I don't even know what he would say. It would be like...
I would say, like, babe, Greece the same.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a feeling that some communities in Greece are, like, really progressive in that way, like the alt. But I guess traditionally, other places that we go, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Mykonos, okay. So on the topic of masculinity, we're going to talk through a Reddit thread that talks about why men lie, written from a man's perspective, which is really, really interesting. So, and this also leans into, like, lack of clarity. Men lie because on a deep level they think they're protecting her from the truth, which is this whole lack of clarity, obscurity. Like, I'm not going to just tell her that I don't really like her because that's going to hurt her feelings, so I'm going to tell her that I'm not ready, or it's like, not the right time, right person, wrong time, all that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
100%.
It's like, I think I'm protecting her, but in the long run, like, I actually think it's a disservice.
Yeah.
Also, maybe don't pursue it if you're not into it. Like, I don't understand this, like, leading them down this path of, like, hanging out for months and then just being like, nah.
Sometimes, though, I feel like you need to lie to protect someone's feelings. Like, end it, but you don't have to say the real reasons.
But don't you think it makes it so much harder for someone to move on when there's this, like, obscurity
No, but think of a good
around-
reason.
Like, what's a good reason that validates someone not thinking about you constantly for the next 3 months, or, like, hoping you're to come back at some point?
Sometimes I protect people.
No, I get it. You don't want to be an asshole, but at the same time, don't you think it's worse to leave someone like, oh, he's going to come back, and leave this false hope? Because that's what most men do.
It depends what the actual reasoning is. But yeah, you shouldn't give false hope. You need to be clear and you need to end it.
Yeah.
And give like a good reason. But if it's a hurtful reason,
Yeah.
or like something, no, it shouldn't be like, obviously if you've cheated or something, or like you're into other people or whatever it is. But like, I think,
But that don't, as in, like, say it if you've done something wrong.
I think when it comes to like stuff you've done or anything like cheating, you need to be clear about that. That's horrible, and people who do that are atrocious. But I think sometimes
like-
softening the reason or protecting someone's feelings. Some people are really walking around here with real lack of social awareness, and they're saying stuff that's like, whoa, a bit too much. But I think ending it and being clear, just be clear. I don't want this. It doesn't serve me. You're a great person. I just don't see you as the person I want to be with. I don't see you as my potential future partner. That's a good reason.
That's perfect.
That's clear and that's amazing.
That's
You don't have
not
to go into the
lying.
nitty gritty.
No, agreed, but that's also truthful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't give false hope. No.
False hope, but I feel like where false hope really comes in is this modern dating of, like, not really having a definition of what you are. You've been hanging out for a few months. There's, like, blurred lines. You know what I mean? Like, it
How
just
are people
gets
getting
so
into
messy.
situationships? I need someone to explain to me
Yeah,
because
I
I've
don't
never been in one.
understand.
Like, what is a situationship? Like, you're seeing each other but not really seeing each other, but this, but that. Like,
'Cause,
I guess when
like,
you're young, it works.
people always
But
get hurt. No, it
but
never works.
no, when you're young, it's like you're probably not dating so intentionally.
Yeah.
Like you're not dating to get married.
True.
But surely you're busting out these questions from the beginning of speaking to someone. You know, I want to be a
Totally.
mom. I want to have kids. I want this. I want that.
Totally.
Babe, that's a first date question for me.
But men have
I'm like,
made
do
that,
you want
modern
to
men have made that hard to do for women, I think.
grow
Yeah,
up?
true.
Babe, move to the end of the earth and find someone who's not like that than to be with someone who is like that. If you can't ask someone from the start of meeting them, like, do you want kids? Do you want to be a dad? Do you want
It's
these
seen as
things?
taboo though. Men make it this fucking like it's too much.
I'm not asking I want to have kids with me.
Totally.
But that you want to have kids.
Totally.
That you want to be a dad. Because if you don't, I
Totally.
don't want to waste another second with you because I want those
Totally.
things. And some people
Totally.
don't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like childless relationships that are flourishing, and that's amazing. God bless you guys. But I don't want that. So what would be the point of me wasting my time and speaking to a man further who wants to be some playboy bachelor forever?
Don't you think it's so Aussie that's like, oh, it's too much? Like
Babe,
to bring up the concept of family, too much. Bring up the concept of marriage, too much.
I don't date Aussies, so I don't know. So you guys tell me in the comments. But like, nah, that should be first date questions. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's you've always got to be clear and direct, especially as you get older. Like, babe, we're not wasting time here. I'm not wasting time with you. I'd rather waste time with him, like who's actually on the same page. Blah blah blah. Men lie because they can't communicate. They feel that they would be misunderstood if they tried to tell the truth.
Wow. Why are men such bad fucking communicators? Like it's actually
It's a lack of emotional capacity, for sure. I think there's a lack of capability. I think some people lack that. And unfortunately, a lot of men do. So, not all men, obviously. Hashtag not all men. But like some men lack the emotional capacity, the emotional understanding, the emotional depth to be able to communicate in a,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it'll come out other ways, whether it's anger or whatever, their emotions come out in other ways. But I think to accurately communicate, I would agree with that.
So this guy's saying like they lie because I think if they tell the truth, it'll be misunderstood.
Yeah, or they just don't have the ability to
Sounds like a
communicate
liar.
well. Yeah. So it would be kind of like they don't want to tell you how they really is because they're scared they're going to hurt your feelings. So they just like make up a lie.
Oh, men lie because, and this is a man giving the reason, lying is a form of power. Oh my God, that's fucking scary.
That's real sadistic.
That's scary shit.
That's also modern dating. It's like, who has the upper power? I've heard that from guys.
Yeah.
Tell me like, oh no,
yeah.
because you have the power. I'm like, I have the power.
Well, as
Like,
women,
what-
we do hold like.
But like, why do you even think that? No, because people think in ways of like who likes the other one more, who's putting more effort. People think in this like power
Yeah,
dynamic,
True. That's so true.
and it's so strange. Number one, women should always hold that power. Men should always want the woman more, even if it's a little bit. But that's just men chase you, men come after you, men whatever it is. It doesn't work when the dynamic is the other way. If you are chasing a man, that is not a dynamic that you should be in. Men should chase you. Men are taking you out of your family home. Men are asking you to get married. Men are taking you out. Men are whatever. Women are receiving those things. So yeah, women have the power to be like, no, like I don't know. That's so sadistic and disgusting, and I hate that manipulative shit. Men lie because they are competitive. Even in lying, seeing how badly you can treat people becomes a competition.
Do men really do that? That's fucked up.
What, with competition with who? Their friends.
Yeah, I guess it's like, oh yeah, like this week, like I bought like, like a sick car, and then the other one's like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna buy like this sick car. I don't know, is it like that?
There is like male competitiveness. I mean, evolutionary, it's amazing because we've gotten to where we are, but in a sense that
They're trying to one up each other, maybe?
they're always trying to. Female competitiveness is even scarier.
Yeah, but do we lie about shit like that?
No, but yeah, babe, they do. Women are very. You actually see this in the Middle East, especially like being a pretty girl. There's a lot of like competitiveness with that because you're obviously trying to impress guys, so then people are more male centric. But with men that are competing with other guys, yeah, I guess
That's fucked up.
that's fucked up.
That's fucked up, and also like,
Jealousy is rampant in this world, though.
ew.
And that's
Ew,
why
ew,
I'm
ew,
not
ew.
a guys think this is like sus, but it's an Arab thing, and I feel like all Arab girls can relate. I won't post my man on my social media until we're married. I just wouldn't do it. I just am not about that life. We don't do
That's
that.
fair.
It's a Middle Eastern thing. We don't post men who aren't our husbands, and even then, we're not like full face
Is that, like,
tag.
evil eye though, of like
It's evil eye. It's also just like it's a
it's not
private thing. We're
official,
not
yeah.
posting guys. Like guys would be like my ex would be like, you never post me, blah 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 blah. I'm like, why? Look, you think I'm dying to speak to other guys? Like I'm such a loyal person. When I have a man, he's all that I think and see. But I just don't. What is mine in privacy is mine. Like I don't need to share that with the world.
That's what social media's done.
And when I'm married to you, it's different. You're not my
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
You know, boyfriends don't exist in my culture. You're either married or, we're dating. Let's, whatever. But you don't get the perks of being my thing unless, there's something more serious to that.
Yeah.
And not that I don't view relationships as serious, but they're not marriage. Like, I'm not posting my boyfriend People are posting too much stuff, in my opinion.
Why Men Lie, written from a man's perspective. Men lie because of the pressure that men are supposed to have courage. That pressure actually makes men cowards. Which I think this like mental health pressure on, we can talk about masculinity, but I feel like also the very fine line between like masculinity and then that pressure of being courageous and being brave. And
I just don't think men have been taught how to be courageous.
Yeah.
Because of the epidemic of failing fathers. Your dad is meant to
wow.
teach you all of these lessons, and I think a lot of men are failing in doing that, and it's a constant cycle. So when your father fails to show you how it is to be a good man, or any man, a male figure in your life, you're going to go out to outside sources to seek that. And that's where people like, who's that problematic guy that everyone loves? Andrew Tate come in, because it's like, whether it's Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, whatever, they're all essentially saying the same thing. Suck it up. Do this, stop feeling bad for yourself. Ziz, shout out to Ziz. Anyone remember Ziz? Yeah. Like, people look up to these figures, whether it's superheroes, men, because it's like a lack of, there's a lack of fatherhood.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I think it is sad that men don't have the tools a lot of the times to be courageous. And before, they just had to do things. They were put in those situations. Now, living in a privileged society, there isn't really those situations. You're not going to war. You're not having to do those things. So yeah, it would be really hard when you don't have the tools to have such knowledge, for sure. Especially when you can't, in this Boise culture, you can't go to your friends. I have so many male friends.
Yeah, wow.
And they always tell me things that they would never tell their guy friends. I'm like, why?
That's crazy.
And there's my brother and all his boys, like they speak in very vulnerable ways. They hug each other. They're whatever. But that's not normal in all spaces. Like they fear each other. They fear judgment, putting each other down. That culture all kind of, I guess, adds to that.
Yeah.
Reasons why a man lies, written from a man's perspective. A man has to make her see him as he sees himself. So he feels he needs to lie.
Wow. Which, like, manifestation? I'm joking.
As in, like, fake it till you make it. I think that, a lack of sense of self will come out in so many nefarious ways. And that's why it's so important to have a deep connection with yourself, a deep love for yourself, a deep sense of self before adding someone else to the picture.
Yeah.
But I think in saying that, I think what a lot of men will do, and I see this a lot, unfortunately, is when they're dating a woman that they think is out of their league, they will then put her down and almost create a fallacy to
What's happened to you?
make sure that she stays
And
like,
me.
and you. Babe, it's happened to so many women. I met this beautiful, stunning woman overseas, and her husband always puts her down. And you look at her husband, you're like, what? And it's actually
about fucking hideous men that get hot women and are being cunts. It's like,
I know,
you are privileged that you got her, bro. Like, so fucking
but that's how they
privileged.
ensure that they keep her.
Oh,
Is by like breaking. Some men will build you up, and some men will break you down to make sure that you'll never leave them.
Oh,
Like
God,
this,
gross.
they'll make you feel so self-conscious about things you were never self-conscious about. They'll make you second guess yourself, and even someone who's so confident like myself and has always been so self-assured and whatever, that can really do damage too. Like,
100%.
and it happens slowly over time.
Yeah.
It's little things that they chip in you that makes you
Yeah.
doubt yourself or whatever it is. So it's really easy to fall into those
Yeah.
toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And yeah. So unfortunately that's a common trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do see that. Like, yeah.
I think that's it. Okay. That's it for today. Yeah. All right. Dating and masculinity in Australia, done.
Done. Let us know what you guys think about dating. I would love to hear dating stories or like maybe we could create a little questions box. Follow our
Yeah.
Instagram, pre-play store. We'll link it below. Follow us on TikTok. And yeah, we want to hear all of the dating stories and all the successful ones. Like, is chivalry dead in Australia? Tell us. I want to know.
No, I'm joking. I said yes.